News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Welcome to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning.
I'm Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com.
And I'm Maximilian, wishing a very happy birthday to our good buddy Jerry Seinfeld.
Oh, no kidding. I wonder how old he is. If I had to
68.
68? You don't think of him that old. I don't know.
No, you don't, but Seinfeld was a lot longer ago than you think it was.
I know, yeah. It's funny. You know, Max and I have this little running gag of how many Seinfeld episodes could have been solved if they had cell phones. I mean, think of all the dilemmas they got themselves into. So,
well, Kramer would have weighed 400 pounds because he wouldn't have had to run anywhere.
Right, good point. So, but that sounds good, Max. Yeah, we you know, true comedy classic. So happy birthday, sir. Sounds good. If you want to wish Jerry Seinfeld a happy birthday or chime in with your thoughts, you can get in touch with us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. And I strongly encourage you to go over to Tool Talk Radio's Facebook page. It's already, let's see, I think I got 3 posts up there, Allan.
Oh.
Naturally, I posted our must-have item of the week. Naturally, I posted a video about our great moments in building history, which is going to be really interesting, Allan. This is going to be a lot of fun. Lego is going to be a pretty dominant theme today.
I wonder why.
Yeah, because and so we're going to be discussing that epic Lego house that James May built. You know, the guy that hosts Top Gear.
Oh yeah, that was back in 2009 when that show came out. He was going to build a Lego house.
3.3 million Legos used in this house.
Yeah.
So we're gonna cover that. And the reason we're covering that, Allan, is because if you look to the next post, you will see that Boy Scout Troop number 27 is coming in today.
They are indeed.
Dan the Lego Man, who is an institution around News Talk 98.9, you know, he's one of the Tigers broadcasters. He's a big shot around here.
And ABS plastic flows through his veins.
Exactly. He is a Lego enthusiast, but he's here to talk radio. In fact, as we speak, he's giving the Boy Scouts the tour. I didn't know you could get a merit badge for radio. I mean,
oh yes.
Is this advisable?
If you know the right people.
Okay, so he's going to be he's bringing these Boy Scouts in the studio in the second hour. So we better, be on your best behavior, Allan. So I mean, back in my day, we had to get. I don't know what the coolest merit badge you ever got was, but we never got radio. We usually was building a campfire or.
He probably went to like reverse Boy Scouts, where it's like, oh, set booby traps for the heroes.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so.
I'm not going to confirm or deny that, as I have pleasant memories.
Yeah. So check it out. I posted a picture of the patch that they're getting. So
okay, awesome.
Also, so we're going to probably rearrange a lot of things, Allan. Well, like we might be getting to our must-have items sooner than later. Also, in historically terrible, which we'll probably get to in the first hour.
Yeah.
This is historically terrible. I don't know that anybody would disagree with this one. Pre-OSHA skyscraper construction. I don't know why I'm laughing. People were maimed and, but you couldn't have paid me enough to do.
Yeah, it's wow.
Comedy is tragedy plus time, so go ahead and laugh.
I guess. But, yeah, that one, man, if you were an iron worker back in the day, you were just rolling the dice. You were coming home without being impaled, burned, crushed, or whatever.
Allan, were they paid handsomely back in the day, or no?
Oh no. Oddly, in a bizarre sci-fi tie-in, there is a wonderful Doctor Who episode about building a skyscraper that really They of course Doctor Who'd it up, the aliens were the evil bad guys. But all of the issues that they covered in that episode were dead on the money.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? I got a whole list here, and as usual, I'm not going to over tease because we can see where things might be going.
We do.
Allan, though, I want you to please welcome a new sponsor. Actually, you brought these are associates of yours, and we've got a new sponsor to Tool Talk. They'll probably be starting next week, but why not roll out the carpet now and
we certainly can.
Tell us who they are, Allan.
Well, one thing I want to point out is that you and I are always looking for really good team members.
Oh yeah, we only
join us.
We only deal with the best around
And
here, so, yeah.
well, to be honest, we only have a very few sponsorships left open.
Yeah.
So if you've been thinking about it, you really need to give us a call.
Yeah, pull the trigger.
Yeah,
and
you need to get hold of Joe and talk to him quick.
talk to Jay Hill about the business that this show brings him. So okay.
Well, we're going to be
got,
welcoming
Allan?
the Royal Retreat, which is an assisted living that offers your loved ones high quality medical care and assisted living. You can get in touch with them through Lana Candela, and their number is 901-563-2210. And they have, I got to tell you, Joe, it's a renovated facility.
It looks top notch, man, from the looks of it.
Pretty.
All of us are dealing with this stuff now. Every friend I have has parents that they're dealing with this stuff. We just dealt with this with my mother-in-law, so it's a urgent, need, basically.
It is a blessing when this gets off your mind. You got somebody taken care of.
That's pretty cool. And so welcome to the Royal Retreat Assisted Living. I do have a question, Allan, because this is the world you work. Okay, so you're in charge of making sure these places function and these places stay up to code and these places, so are we going to be able to get some behind the scenes, dirt on you by having some of these people on the show, or to me that's the added benefit. If you call in, maybe they'll okay.
Well, they'll tell you, oh, he has his clipboard again. Here we go.
Okay, yeah. Then they know when the state's coming in. But now that's it. That's exciting. I'm looking forward to getting over there and getting a tour. I hope they'll give us show us around. So, all right. Well, welcome to the Tool Talk Radio family. So, hey, Allan, just if people do want to get in touch too, we're easy to reach. So, if you want to talk sponsorship, just get in touch with us. What would you say the best way to do that is?
I would say the best way is just pop over to tooltalkradio.com and send us a message, send us an email, ask us a question, or they can call you at
901-921-7105. So, yeah, we're pretty easy to reach, honestly, and we usually reply. I'm not going to answer the phone during the show, but send us a text or something. So, all right, Allan. So, lots of good stuff today. So we're mixing it up though. So let's get to our must-have item of the week. I told you we were changing things up. So all right, Max finally found the button. So now actually this is I forgot to mention something important. So if you're really interested in the full Tool Talk Radio experience, you can go over to News Talk 98.9 The Roar's Facebook page, because the cameras are on this morning, Allan. You can see this show. You can see how the sausage is made.
You will discover we have faces for radio.
So if you are, and if you're over there right now, and plus if you want to go back later and watch the video, you can, I suppose. But I'm actually holding our item up to the camera so people will see it. But Allan, tell people what I'm holding up.
It is absolutely one of my favorite tools ever. That is the 1-inch tapered fine bristle paintbrush.
Yeah, and it's thin. This comes in all paintbrushes come in every variety.
They do.
That is one of these things that we always will shout from the rooftops. It only takes a little more to go first class.
Absolutely.
Don't get the cheap paintbrush. I'm sorry. If you make cheap paintbrushes, I'm sorry for you, but I don't recommend your product.
Yeah,
These, though, this one, Allan, what I love about, this is very specific. It's the 1-inch, it's tapered, and it's the thinner.
It's thin.
It's thinner, whatever you call that. It's not the thick.
It is the thin bristle.
Thin bristle. And the reason you and I have our debates. This is the latex one. I've been known to use a latex brush with oil-based paint, and I don't apologize. I just think it holds up really well. And the bristles are a little thinner, but this 1-inch deal, man, I can't tell you how many little tight spaces you get into, because have you ever been in these situations where you have to get into this narrow space, and it's either you use a little artist brush or you use a big 2-inch brush, which doesn't work. And so this is the perfect in-between, man.
All right, I'll give you one of my favorite flashbacks to about 1 billion years ago when somebody was first teaching me how to actually paint.
Okay.
And, in my business, people come in and tell me I'm a painter all the time.
Oh, yeah, you have your test.
And you just hand them a cup full of paint and one of those brushes and go, all right, do a little cut in for me right there in the corner. And if they stick that brush in there and get it loaded up with paint, I just look at them and say, thank you very much, put it down, don't touch my wall.
Yeah.
Now, if they take that brush and they lightly get paint on one half of the bristles at the bottom, at the edge, and they push the brush into the corner perfectly,
Oh, yeah.
I got a painter.
There you go.
And I remember the first time somebody showed me that trick, and it was just you heard the choir sing, you saw light, and went, oh. That's how that's done.
I think a lot of people, as long as we're talking painting tips, I think a lot of people shoot themselves in the foot by just trying to put too much on at once. And because you're not only dealing with getting it on the surface, you're also dealing with not having it drip everywhere and fly everywhere and make a mess. And then you touch things and it smudges. And
painting is somebody told me once upon a time, painting is an exercise in modesty.
Talk to me.
And I went,
That's interesting.
What do you mean? They said you only use a modest amount of paint no matter what you're doing.
Oh, yeah. I think
Do
that's
not
true.
load it up.
Especially with oil-based paint.
I got oil-based spackle all over me this
There you
week
go.
from
Yeah.
doing exactly that.
But this paint, and the thing that's nice about this, not to beat this into the ground, but this 1-inch brush it holds just enough where you're not making, it'll hold enough, but it also doesn't overload it. And especially, the one I'm thinking of is that, when you're painting it like a room and there's always that door frame that comes up maybe an inch or a half inch away from the wall. And getting in there is tight. So this is perfect for that.
It is indeed. That is it. And for the person that knows how to use that tool correctly, that brush is perfect.
And the difference between a good one and a not so good one is like $4. So spend the extra $4 and and go for it. But hey, Allan, Max, I don't know if I prepared you for this, but I wanted to bring up this. We're shifting gears. We're kind of getting to a lot of stuff, Allan, because like I said, we've got guests coming in later. But I've got sort of it's sort of a grisly story to bring you. So hit it, Max.
That's the most foul, cruel, and bad-tempered rodent you ever set eyes on. I just wanted a hug.
Oh, rats in the kitchen, just like that delightful movie I taped in the theater.
I miss playing Ride of the Valkyries.
Yeah. Well, this is I don't know if these guys deserve it or not, but Allan, so full disclosure, I'm coming near the end of my Midtown job.
Okay.
I've got other people, get in line for their projects and stuff. So, by the way, if you're needing any projects, now's the time to get in touch with
Get
me.
in the queue. Yeah.
Okay, Allan. So I show up now. If you're new to Tool Talk Radio, you should know this is a very nice home in Midtown.
Right.
It's right by the zoo. That neighborhood there.
A lot of trees.
A lot of trees. Just cool. Well, this lady is really one of my favorite customers ever, Becky. And her kid loves, her daughter loves animals, and it shows.
Okay.
So you show up there, there's dogs, cat, and then chickens in the backyard. I don't know when this became a thing. Like, this is a nice neighborhood, and you got chickens in the backyard. I guess people do that, right?
Yes.
So, well, Have
you seen the price of eggs lately?
Yeah.
I got news for you. I haven't had chickens in years, and I am really seriously considering.
Oh, yeah.
It's time to have a couple of chickens again.
Well, you have fun with that, Allan. Okay, but I'm learning that chickens can also be jerks too.
Oh, they are flaming jerks. Absolutely.
So I get to this job, and so I go through this one gate on the side of the house, and I'm looking down, and I see this trail of feathers, and then it sort of meanders over towards the bushes and continues, and then I don't know what was after that, but. I learned that a raccoon, because she lets them free range around there, get them stretch their legs, and this chicken got assaulted by a raccoon, I guess you could say.
It happens.
And she broke it up before it was fatal. However, what she told me really sort of shocked me. She said, "Well, I have to keep while she heals, I have to keep her in a separate." Enclosure.
Right.
Because the other chickens will peck at her and maybe kill her.
Yes.
Okay, what is their problem? So
everybody
I never
likes
knew that
chicken.
about chickens.
Oh yeah, they'll welcome to wild animals, man. They're rough.
Is this like social Darwinism, survival of the fittest?
It reminds me of that movie Galaxy Quest when they go to that other planet and the injured, there was that injured alien and they said, "Oh, how cute," and then they all had
all
him
the
for
other
lunch.
aliens ate him. Yeah.
Is that what we're talking here?
That's exactly what we're talking here.
Well, they're Chickens are idiots. I mean, I don't like chickens. I don't feel too bad about eating them anymore. But what's the deal with that? I'm kind of curious. So,
all right. Well, it's color and contrast.
Oh,
So-
she did mention something about red.
Well, it's color and contrast because if you were to take a laser pointer out to your little chicken pen, put the laser pointer on the ground with the little red dot on it, they're going to peck at it.
Okay.
Because they see the high contrast that automatically triggers that pecking response. So the bird that is injured it doesn't look the same.
They don't
And
care that it's their friend and their comrade. Or
it's going to trigger a response, and they're going to peck at it.
So they're not necessarily attacking, but they're just idiots, and they don't.
They're
I guess I'm trying to-
instinctual animals, and they're going to do what they do.
Brother.
Well, it's kind of like all right, we've all seen the Discovery Channel stuff in Africa with the oxpecker birds.
Well, I don't know. That's pretty specific, Alan.
But
So,
they're
yeah.
but they're the little birds that pick the ticks and stuff off of all the animals, and everybody thinks they're so wonderful.
Okay, I got
Well,
you.
the problem with them is you got a wound, they keep pecking at it and won't let it heal because they're drawn to that contrast.
Okay.
It's kind of an instinctual thing. And in a big flock, especially in a really contained area, and this happens a lot with turkeys and other birds.
Yeah.
If somebody has a discoloration or gets an injury, it's not necessarily that they're being mean, but they're triggered by a contrast and food response. You peck at it.
They just strike. You know, when I watch
And
them,
chickens are not vegetarians, by the way.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
I love they put out in a commercial, chickens are vegetarians. No, chickens are not vegetarians.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
What do they eat?
They eat bugs and little, if it's a frog or something, they'll eat other critters.
Those are called omnivores, right?
They are very omnivorous.
I only ever see them eating. I guess it's what you feed them, though. So they're,
well,
just because you feed them vegetarian stuff doesn't mean.
Well, they'll eat all their veggies and stuff, but if you free range them, I got news for you. There's not a cricket that's going to make it across that enclosure.
I mean, hey, Joe, if you're looking for a surprised omnivore, look at pandas. They actually are omnivores too.
Did they? Okay, I don't. I would. Yeah. Okay, but Max, we're straying into cannibalism. You're saying.
Yes.
Okay. Well, then all bets are off with chickens. Then.
Well,
Okay.
mice, rabbits, anything. There's kind of a time-honored tradition among animals that
Nothing goes to waste.
exactly.
That makes me think of the spiders that eat each other.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I didn't really.
We won't even bring up praying mantis. So
I didn't know. I didn't really mean to bring all. I don't know. I hope people were not ruining anybody's breakfast, but I don't know.
Well, the animal world is not necessarily a cutesy movie directed by a mouse. Nature is a little rough, man. They play for keeps.
It's okay. I guess it's something to think about if you decide it's time to buy some chickens or something. So.
Well, this is why when an animal gets wounded in the wild, it doesn't run necessarily straight back to the fold. It goes and holes up, and that's where we got the expression, well, where'd he go? Well, he crawled off to lick his wounds. Because,
or somebody else does. So.
Well, what if you were the lead sled dog and now you've been injured?
Right.
Well, the number 2 sled dog is going to kick your furry fanny because he wants to be number 1.
Okay.
And you're weak, and they're going to take advantage of it.
Okay. All right. One more. I want to follow. I have a follow-up report. I don't know if I. Yeah, this is a follow-up report.
Oh, I got a raccoon story for you too. So keep going.
Okay. Well, while we're in Critter Wars. Okay. Well, thanks for that information about chickens. That's more than I probably wanted to know about them. But okay, Alan, this is a good situation because before I wrap up this project for Becky in Midtown,
Right.
we're going through this random punch list. Among the punch list is one of the punch list items. I told you that there was this gap behind her gutters that
Right.
It was literally. I mean, it was an entrance probably 10 feet long. That the squirrel, they didn't even have to duck. The squirrels could get in under the shingles without even, messing up their
Squirrel
fur.
runway. Got it.
And they were just wreaking havoc in her attic. Well, so I finally discovered where that opening was, and I addressed it. And tell me if this is mean, Alan. I'm not interested in hurting squirrels, but I also don't want them coming in anymore.
Right.
You know those little if you've ever been to the lumber aisle, you know that there's all these you know that there's these little pieces of well, they're just hardware like metal. And have you ever seen one of those tie-in plates where if you want to butt two 2x4s together,
Right.
it's a plate with like 80 spikes on it, and
Yeah.
you basically just tap it in
hammer
and
it
you're
in.
done. And maybe you put a few nails in. Well, I put those all because they fit perfectly.
Yes,
they were
they
the
did.
exact size of the opening. So I put them spikes out
Yeah.
under the gutter. And my thought was, okay, well, if they start poking around in there, they're going to get a little poke on their nose. I mean, if they're dumb enough to chew into spikes, I don't know what to tell them. But I felt like it looked very medieval, and it looked like a battle from Lord of the Rings or something. But I got to believe they're not getting through that, Alan. I mean,
If they can get around it and chew around it, they will, but no, it's a good thing. I have used those exact same items on pigeons.
like face up so that they
Face
can't
up
stand
so they
on it.
can't land on that area anymore.
Yeah, I can't decide if it's mean or it's. I'm not trying to kill squirrel. I just want them to leave us alone.
Nature plays rough and plays for keeps.
Yeah, it does.
And if you want to keep them from chewing your house apart, you literally have to take some draconian measures to keep them out.
Absolutely. So,
Now, you were very kind in the fact that you didn't put death traps up there.
yeah, we could have put like the bear trap type.
Oh
thing
yeah,
and
you could
whatever.
have lined that baby with I could have got you some really good jaw traps, and you could have took care of the squirrels, but you did it humanely. You have now deterred them.
That's right. That's what we're all about here at Tool Talk Radio. Humane treatment, except for our listeners.
Except for us.
Well, you're listening to Tool Talk Radio here at News Talk 98.9 The Roar Memphis. We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, it's going to be all about historically terrible.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Call poison control if you're bit by a spider. But check that it's covered by your healthcare provider.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
I mean, if you got to make a claim for a spider bite, Alan, it's pretty serious. I mean, at that point, I don't know, man.
I have a friend that I think holds the world record for brown recluse bites.
Oh, yeah. Some people just attract trouble.
Yeah, 4 of them, man. It's like, stop doing that. Whatever it is you're doing, stop.
Change your cologne. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson. Coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studio. Sorry, Larry. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max over there behind the glass.
And my last name is not behind the glass. It's behind the glass.
All right. Well, I've been mispronouncing it this whole time. So, okay. Behind the glass. Okay. There's a story there, Alan, that we'll probably...
we probably don't want to know.
We don't want to know. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline. He's really throwing me off. At 901-683-0989. Agent 732 has already weighed in. Agent 732, put a pin in that. We're going to get to your comment because it's more relating to our guests that are coming up in the second half of the show, Alan. If you're just tuning in, folks, Boy Scout Troop number 27 is coming in with Dan the Lego Man. His son Wesley is part of that entourage. And apparently they're earning, I thought they were just here fooling around and having donuts and getting the tour. They're earning a merit badge.
Yes.
Back in my day, okay. I mean, we learned.
Well, back in your day, you were putting together a Marconi wireless set.
Right.
Back in my day, we were using pigeons.
Right. So this is actually, I don't know why they picked our show to come on for the, have fun with that, you guys. But anyway, they'll be on in the second half of the show. So that's why we're mixing up things a little bit, including, we already got, we got to a pretty epic Critter Wars discussion about what rotten jerks chickens are.
They can be
Cannibals, unfeeling. They just, no loyalty.
Oh no.
If your comrade gets injured, they're on the menu.
Well,
I mean,
you can say that about it, and then you'll see like a rooster save his hens from a hawk, or take on a raccoon, or they can be both brutal and noble.
It's funny, Alan, because conversations like this really make you reflect on your place in the universe. Because if you think about it, nature, I mean, we think we have this civilization, and we have our homes, and we have all of these areas that are just, safe and whatever. Well, don't forget, folks, we're, we're on a rocket ship blasting through space at thousands of miles an hour throughout the galaxy. And what did McCoy say? Space is death and disease wrapped in darkness and silence and everything. And then below our feet are, tectonic plates, and all around us are animals and plants that want to invade our home. And so, this notion of, that we're, I don't know, man. Nature is all around us is all I'm thinking.
Well, I'll give you a quick...
ready to take us down.
Well, to give you a quick little side on a raccoon, this week was I was working on a ceiling job with a building, and of course, it had been raccoon invaded during a brief, nobody in the building time period. And as we're bringing down the ceilings, we're working through, going around the air ducts and all that, and we're popping the ceilings down because we're going to put in all new lights and electric and all that.
Yeah.
And everybody got really confused because we found like 4 feet of insulation in one 8x4 area. The ceiling comes down, and here is like half of the insulation of the attic.
Yeah, they had to move it to their...
Well, and everybody was really confused, and I looked at them, I said, that's a condo.
Yeah.
That's where they're sleeping.
That's the high-end, well-insulated condo.
That's the high-end. And, of course, the one in the back corner, I told them, and I said, all right, everybody, bunny suit up, get your goggles on, get your respirators.
Oh, yeah.
And I went up above it and whacked it a few times in a few corners with the sledgehammer, gave it one last whack. And let's just say the latrine joined the bottom floor.
Thanks, Allan. We're really not helping the, people are at their table trying to eat breakfast.
Well, I am pointing out that raccoons at least delineated, go over there and you sleep over here.
All right. What'd you say, Matt?
Never mind.
Okay. Even flummoxed Max. So, okay. Well, needless to say that you're reiterating my point, Allan. Just nature is all around us. It's after us. And, if you don't stay vigilant, it's going to get you.
Oh, yes.
All right. Hey, let's shift gears. In a minute, we're going to get to our historically terrible. You talk about more, whatever. But before we get to that, let's talk about our good buddy Larry Brown with Brown Refrigeration. So, I listened to his commercials, that they play. And it really, I don't know. The commercials are great, but they don't do them justice.
That's
Brown
true.
Refrigeration, you could spend... Larry... You could have a whole show about Brown Refrigeration. And remember a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about unsolid business practices and companies that don't necessarily take care of business. Brown Refrigeration is just a rock solid company based on, Larry Brown's a man of integrity too.
Yes.
He only hires the best. He only hires, they create a business culture there, which is hugely important because not only do you want somebody who's technologically, they're up on the latest technology, they're all very well trained and proficient in that, but the culture is what gets me, Allan. Because let's face it, if you've got an HVAC system, you need it maintained. You need it.
Yes, you do. And
if you need a new system, you need you want the cutting edge technology, and you want it installed properly. But it's a very complicated item, which I still don't really understand, that needs tune-ups as well. You don't just run it until it doesn't run anymore. You keep it maintained.
Right, just like a vehicle. You wouldn't drive it till it dies. There's things that need to be done.
Yeah, don't look at me that way, Allan. Okay, but that's why we suggest get in touch with Brown Refrigeration. Get at least a yearly tune-up. We recommend every 6 months. The tune-ups are very they're not expensive, and they can come in and they can get it running. It basically pays for itself.
Yes,
it'll get it running at peak efficiency, and also they might be able to identify problems that they may say in 3 or 4 years you might have to think about a new unit. Well, you want that information so you can plan ahead. Also, they deal with the Remy Halo system, which is a really great development in HVAC because it uses the UV power of the sun to create cleaning particulates that come out. So it's blowing out clean air, and it's blowing out air that's cleaning every surface that it hits. Just great people over there. Like we said, they work with Trane, which is the top-of-the-line systems. So get in touch with Brown Refrigeration. You can call them directly, 901-362-1881, or go to their website, brownref.com. All right, Max, let's roll, man.
Oh, my.
This armor's useless. Why do we even wear it?
Oh, you stink! This is the worst.
I like this music, man.
It's called Winners and Losers.
It's so happy.
It's fun. Yeah, I mean, fun tragedy. But hey, so Allan, I'm really enjoying our relatively new segment, Historically Terrible. If you're new to Tool Talk Radio, we're any point in history is fair game. We've discussed ancient Roman toilets. We've discussed 1970s shag carpeting or couch cover. I feel like the 70s are going to get hit pretty hard by
I missed our discussion on the Xylospongium.
Put it on the queue, Max. So.
I missed it, as in we discussed it before.
That was the Roman toilet, Joe.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, that was the sponge on a stick. Yeah.
So our idea is we want to look at things throughout history that have really just been pretty bad. And
there's some. Yeah, I was listening to the shag carpet thing again last night, just having flashbacks going,
I remember those days. Well, the thing about it is, Allan, it's not just to glory in other people's suffering. It's because these are educational, and you can, what do they say? If you don't learn from the past, you're doomed to repeat it. So this one, I hope we can make this fun, but it's a pretty, I don't know, I guess it's a serious conversation, but what did you say, Max? Time and
tragedy equals comedy equals tragedy plus time.
So what we're going to be discussing is pre-OSHA skyscraper construction.
Oh boy!
And we're zeroing in on skyscrapers because now OSHA, Allan, we've all heard of it, but I don't know if I have the acronym correct. What does that stand for?
Well, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration.
Administration. That's what I was. Okay. Yeah. I don't know why the A always tied me up. So, yeah. So back in the day, there was, and we're not talking that long ago. I was looking at some research, mostly on the Empire State Building, but this applies to really any skyscrapers. And it was a dangerous game, Allan. So.
Well, all right. Let's go back to just post Civil War,
mm-hmm.
and that really begins the American Industrial Revolution,
right?
Because now we have the Mavericks, the names we recognize today. We have the Rockefellers, we have the Carnegies, we have
even the Hershey's,
the Heinz.
Right?
We have it's kind of hard to imagine, but before interstates, this country is really, really big.
It feels big too when you got to drive across it without a freeway.
Tennessee alone.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee. If you drive up and down, you're in and out of the state in about 90 minutes.
Yeah, actually, corner to corner, you're almost at 10 hours.
Yeah, you go Memphis you cover almost a third of the country in just one state.
That's true.
And
go through Texas, it could take you. It took us 12 hours to get through Texas.
Texas is 12 hours any direction you want to drive.
Hey, before we kick, I wanted to read. There was a great quote, Allan, that I think will paint the picture. There was a foreman who was on the Empire State Building, and I love this quote. He said, "Building skyscrapers is the nearest peacetime equivalent of war."
Yes.
In fact, let's see. The grim reality of building this isn't his quote, but this is what it said. In fact, the analogy is startling, even to the occasional grim reality of a building accident where maimed bodies and even death reminds us that we are fighting a war of construction against the forces of nature. And we've been talking about that all morning. But really, I mean, you're dealing with wind. You're dealing with gravity. You're dealing with heat. You're dealing with all sorts of.
Right out of the gate, we're dealing with logistics.
Yeah, and you're in the middle of a city trying to move
Here we
around.
Go. We need a lot of metal.
Yeah.
We need a lot of heavy metal.
Going straight up.
We need a lot of concrete.
Mm-hmm.
We need a lot of big, heavy, time-consuming, space-consuming items.
Awkward.
And it's got to be staged. And then just stand there and look straight up.
Right.
That's where you're going. And this past week I had to haul a load of stuff out to the dump in Somerville.
Okay.
And the logistics of getting everything loaded in the trailers and getting all the trailers hooked up to the trucks, driving all the way out there, unloading everything. All right, that is nothing compared to getting 1,000 tons of concrete delivered somewhere so you can get started.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure most of us have been to a big city. You go to a big city like Chicago or New York or something, you don't have a whole lot of space. You know, if you roll up there with the cement truck or the flatbed with all of the girders and everything, man, one little sway one way or another, you just slammed into the building next to you, or you dropped it on somebody,
And so here we go. So that first 2 or 3 levels is kind of controlled chaos, but it's pretty much where you can see it and you can get your hands on it.
Right.
So like you and I working on a job, you and I have spent a lot of time up on ladders. We've been 10, 12 feet off the ground. We've had to straighten boards, move things. We've had to knock holes and stuff.
Right.
And that's 10, 12 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
Okay, that's layer 1.
Yeah.
Now, about layer number 4 is where the real ballet begins.
Sure.
Because now you can't carry the material anymore. It has to be lifted.
Right. A crane, Well, I mean, you can't lift girders anyway.
And here's where it begins.
Right.
Because now you have to support the equipment that's supporting you, that's allowing you to build.
Right.
So the crane that you have in the middle of your building is going to grow all the way to the top of the building with you.
Yeah.
And then you got to get it down. So just imagine, and people don't really understand the sheer force of 2,000 pounds of girder swinging. It's not going to stop.
It could swing at you at 3 miles an hour, but when that hits you, that doesn't
it's
matter.
not going to stop.
Right.
And not only that, this is also kind of creepy. Frank Lloyd Wright talked about the idea of steel swaying in the wind. Even if you have like the strongest frame in the world, it's still going to shake a little bit. And if you don't have straps like on you and everything, like little things that like guide you in case you fall, then what's that going to be like, working on an unstable steel structure all day?
Well, funny you mentioned that, Max, because it's not funny, but that's exactly right. If you look at just Google some pictures of the Empire State Building, what you'll find is you don't find any safety harnesses, you don't find hard hats, that alone right there is it. But you find these guys leaning way over, and you had to be a special kind of person to not be afraid of those heights. I don't think I could, especially without a safety harness. It's
all right, bingo. You said a special kind of person.
Right.
We discovered in the early days of Skyscrapers that certain ethnic groups were far better suited for this kind of work than others.
Funny you say that, Alan. I'm looking at my notes here. They said a lot of the Mohawk people were very good at this because you said that they
don't have a vertigo response.
The vertigo response is different or something because there was a lot of Mohawk workers in there, and
Mohawk, Iroquois, other Native Americans,
right.
other ethnic groups, certain sub-pockets from certain parts of Europe, just really heights just didn't bother them at all.
Well, and the thing is, too, it's not like, okay, you might be the safest person in the world. You might be as cautious as you can be, but you're working with hundreds of other people. And if one of them makes a mistake, one guy slips with the crane. One person didn't, rivet his beam correctly. And I don't know, man. It's just people did die during this. They said if you were an iron worker back in the day and you made it 10 years without a serious injury, you were unusual. I don't know, man. They were paid well. They said they were paid double what a normal construction, but I don't know. Is it worth the trade-off? It's just
they got them built.
They got them built, but it's the thing about it is I'm glad when did OSHA come along? Because my thing is, I guess what it is I don't want to get on my soapbox, but think of the egos we've talked about. Remember we had our discussion about the Empire State Building versus the Chrysler Building,
right.
And they were racing to see, okay, now we got to make ours taller than that one, and the egos involved, this cost people their lives. It's like I'm sorry, I couldn't live with myself if I was doing that, but I'm glad OSHA finally came along, and it's still a dangerous game, but they definitely made it safer.
Well, you can say happy birthday to OSHA,
okay?
Because in my mind, I was thinking it was like this week. And OSHA actually began on April 28th of 1971.
Come on. What are the odds of that? Because I didn't plan that.
I thought you had planned that on purpose.
No. Yeah, I did. Edit that out, Max.
Yeah,
yes, we planned that on purpose. So, what sort of changes did they make? Because, I mean, I guess, we're still building skyscrapers. These days, I have to believe that it's much, much safer. But for one thing, I'm sure they got harnesses. And I think they limited things, too, like what you could actually there were a lot of different regulations that they imposed too. I think as far as how many hours you could be up there and things like that. Because also, didn't they let kids work on this?
Well,
child labor laws weren't the best.
Well, there you go. You had kind of a wide ranging idea that kind of began in the agricultural days, and let's pre-World War II. Everybody got up and worked on the farm.
Right.
If you were 8 years old, your job was to go get the eggs. If you were 12 years old, you were milking the cows. If you were this whole idea, everybody gets up and goes to work.
Right.
Was an idea, but now it's in the cities. And to be honest, we just didn't know.
Well,
And one of the early problems was cleaning supplies, because so many new companies began producing all these new chemicals, and people didn't really understand. Now, we understood that ammonia could get the glass nice and clean. Yay. And we understood that bleach could get rid of stains.
Yeah.
What people didn't really understand is you don't mix them.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the fumes too.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
because
that'll make you dizzy. You could faint from breathing in.
Think
ammonia,
about all the old oil paints
right
back in the day. You open the can of oil paint, and everybody in 2 blocks knew you were painting.
Oh yeah,
because of just how harsh some of the chemicals and things that we'd been using were still with us.
It's funny, in all the research I did on this, I wasn't even thinking about the fumes, and the fumes from welding smoke, the fumes from that. That's not creating a great. You're up, however many hundreds of feet up in the air, and then you're breathing in all these weird fumes with no safety harm. I don't know, man. Just a recipe for disaster. Plus, that's not the best thing for your lungs.
No, and just kind of welcome to us learning more.
Yeah.
Well, again, the world changed, because in 1830, you'd have never thought about building 100 stories.
Right.
Because you just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Well, then we have elevators come along, and then we have electricity come along. And then our dear buddy, Mr. Carrier, popped up right there at the turn of the century.
That's true.
And suddenly, but people like you said, you still don't truly understand how an air conditioner works.
Well,
you got the basic ideas.
I don't, man. It's if I look at it, I just don't get why it's malfunctioning or whatever.
Exactly,
makes no
because
sense to me.
that's not what you do. But the chemicals and everything involved in what make an air conditioner work are not something the average person comes in contact with or understands.
Yeah. Yep.
So that is kind of why Massachusetts, actually, who kind of started this, back about 1890, I'll have to look it up, about 1890 or so, began to pass laws about what you could and couldn't do.
Right.
Safety in industry.
Yeah.
Because trained, skilled workers are expensive.
Sure.
You don't want to hurt them.
Yeah.
You want to keep them in good working order.
Right.
So that you're, as even when we use the words unskilled labor, that's not really true.
No, I don't know where that term came from, because I feel like there's a lot more
anything becomes a skilled labor.
Yeah. I did want to say something else, though, and I wonder how much of this was the culture, too, because when I look at these pictures, Allan, especially, and I keep zeroing in on the Empire State Building because that's the easiest one to find reference points of, but you see these guys, and to me, there's a lot of macho posturing and a lot of, we've seen that picture of the guys sitting on the I-beam, eating their lunch and all that. Well, they didn't have to sit there. They could have gone and sat somewhere else. I mean, you literally slip and you're going to fall to your death and everything. And I think a lot of this stuff was, I don't know, man. Like I said, it's like a lot of macho, Hey, I don't mind hanging off the edge of this I-beam here. And I wonder how many people died just basically because it's like, hey, guys, watch this, or hey, showing off. Or,
all right, well, the guys eating on the skyscraper did that out of safety because it was more dangerous going up and down the thing than it was to stay in the workplace.
Oh, come on. You're telling me there wasn't some place they could have sat and ate their lunch or something?
They didn't want to. They didn't want to come down. They had gotten up there and they wanted to stay there.
I don't know. It reminds me of these.
Now, the photographer sneaking up there was taking his life in his hands.
Right.
Now, don't forget, you also had, now if you want to bring these guys up, the daredevils of the day.
Right.
Because who was the world's most popular entertainer at this time?
Was it I don't remember.
It was a guy
Houdini?
named
Houdini?
What? Houdini. Harry Houdini.
He was still around then? Okay. I was thinking Charlie Chaplin because he did a lot of weird stunts and stuff too. But,
Yeah, they did.
So I think a lot of things played a role, culture,
Yes.
just whatever. Because if you fast forward, they built the St. Louis Arch without any fatalities, and you talk about a dangerous construction.
Or how about the
there,
Burj Khalifa?
Did anybody die in that?
I don't know.
Okay, hopefully not.
Well,
but,
how about even with all of our modern safeties, the Hard Rock Hotel in New Orleans collapsed.
Oh, all right. Well, gosh, thanks, Allan. All right, so keep it safe. That's, I guess, what we're saying out there.
Exactly.
All right. Well, Allan, hour 1 is Tool Talk Radio's in the can, but hour 2 is going to be very interesting. Lego is going to be very prominently displayed, and we're going to visit with Boy Scout Troop Number 2 and help them earn their Radio Merit Badge.
Yep.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
And welcome to hour 2 of, that sounds weird. And welcome to hour 2 of Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max over there behind the glass, and about 100 guests that we'll introduce momentarily. You can call or text
We don't
us.
have enough cameras.
Yeah. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. And we invite you to go to two Facebook pages today, Allan. Go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page, naturally, and check in over there. We've already covered some of the things that we've posted about. Also, if you want to see how the sausage is made and you want to see what it looks like,
I don't think I do.
All right, thanks, Mac. If you want to see what things look like over here, while the show goes on, we have the cameras turned on this morning.
We
Allan.
do.
So go to News Talk 98.9 The Roar's Facebook page and check it out. You'll see one of our guests. I think some of our other guests hid in the corner, but we've got our good buddy Dan O'Brien, better known around the studio as Dan the Lego Man. And Dan, you brought lots of guests today. So what's cooking, man?
I did bring lots of guests, not just being a Lego guy and everything. I am big into Boy Scouts. My boy
Awesome.
Wesley is actually he's close to getting his Eagle Scout. He's getting close. He's getting close. But we're part of Troop 27, and about once a year and a half or so, I bring the Scouts in to do a Radio Merit Badge.
Yeah, see that surprised me. Now, full disclosure, I only made it through Cub Scouts. I didn't even get the Weebelo scarf or whatever. But I didn't know you get a radio. You can get a badge for.
You
anything.
can get a badge for anything. Trust me. I think it's 143 badges that you can actually get. In order to get your Eagle, you need to get 21 of the Eagle Scouts, and then you have to get another 7 on top of that.
I'm a little concerned for the future of Boy Scouts, Dan, because if they're getting. If coming in on this show gives them a merit badge, what does that say about our country, Allan? I don't know, man.
Well,
I mean, does our show merit anything?
Yeah, is this like a participation trophy or something?
It might be.
You
But
couldn't have
there's-
found a more elite show to be a part of.
But there's different. We could actually come with you for carpentry one day, and we get a merit badge for carpentry.
Okay,
Awesome.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I think so. I think
Okay.
we need to make that happen. So, all right. So Troop 27 is here. We're going to get them on the air. Well, some of them. We can't get everybody on
Yeah,
it, but,
we get too many. Yes, we don't have enough mics.
but we'll get them on the air in the second half of the hour.
Yeah, that'll work.
Because
That'll
we
work.
want to learn. I guess we'll talk about radio. Plus, I'd be interested in their perspective from a home improvement. A 12 or 13-year-old has a different idea about how homes should be built, probably than
Then a guy like me that wants a good ensuite or a good kitchen, they probably want a great a bigger room so they have more room for their computers and stuff like that.
Yeah, the media room is like 2/3 of the house. The rest of it is
So my tire on a rope was back then, huh? They don't do that anymore.
They don't do that anymore. No,
Man,
no,
okay.
No.
Yeah. Anyway,
No,
hey,
no.
but Dan, in honor of your visit, which we're going to get to shortly, we're going to get in our great moments in building history because Dan is a Lego enthusiast. You actually work with Lego.
I
right?
actually work. My day job is actually I work in the merchandising and the social media portion of the Lego company.
Yeah.
So yes.
But Dan, I wagged the finger of shame today
I
because
know.
you
I
brought
didn't bring
no
anything.
Legos.
I'm sorry. I was going to bring some stuff, and I'm
Hey,
I'm
he
sorry.
brought donuts.
He
I'm
usually
sorry.
drives
good,
us
man.
with.
I'm good.
Are they
with
Lego
stuff.
donuts? They'd be inedible.
But Dan, in honor of that, we were for our great moments in building history. We're going to talk about the an actual house, like a house that James May from Top Gear, which is a really funny show. I
love
show.
Top Gear.
I
do.
watched. I binge watched that on YouTube and everything.
I'm the same way. I am the same way.
But he built an actual house out of Lego, and I mean, my gosh, that merits a great moment in building history.
It does. The original, when you actually started on it and everything, if I remember correctly and everything, he actually got 3 million Lego bricks.
3.3.
Yeah, and it was what the 2x4s, the 8s,
Yes.
as we call it and everything. That's what they actually used. And in order to do it, if I remember correctly, he had to actually bore some holes in all of them in order for it to strengthen.
Okay, well, put a pin in that.
Okay,
Dan.
I'll
We're
put a
not
pin in
there
it.
yet,
Boom.
man.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry,
We
I'm
have,
sorry.
but we
He's all
thought.
excited. He's all excited.
See, what's great about that too, Alan, is how much you don't have to really do much research. Just throw it to Dan, and you and I can go eat donuts the rest of the segment.
I'm good with that.
Okay, hey, so a lot of fun coming up this hour at Tool Talk Radio. Before we get to that, though, not that this isn't fun. It's always fun talking about our good buddy Jay Hill with Big M Roofing and Remodeling. If you want some fun, I don't know what he's thinking. He gives his number out over the air.
He does.
Encourages you to call him basically any time of day. If you're bored, you just want to talk about sports or something, give him a call.
So
He
I need to
doesn't
give him
care.
a call right now. Just talk about
He doesn't
whatever.
care. Jay
Okay.
Hill is a very dynamic personality. He's
He is
very
indeed.
interesting.
Just don't talk about geek stuff with him. He doesn't understand.
He knows nothing about superheroes or science fiction. It's a worthless effort talking about that. However, he brings that dynamic personality to bear into his business, which his business is all about roofing and the exterior protection of your home, Alan.
It is.
Windows, gutters, siding, really from top to bottom, the exterior protection of your home and remodeling as well. But the thing that sets Jay apart is, in addition to him being 5 stars with the Better Business Bureau and GAF Master Elite Installer, is Jay is a former insurance agent. Dan, you may say, big deal. Who cares? Well, there's a reason that's important.
Well, he can tell you if it's a claim or not. Am I correct?
Bingo. Yep. Because let's face it, there's times, Alan,
There's nothing like watching them talk insurance
right. Yeah.
because it's its own language.
Yeah.
Because they're talking about, well, that's an SR23 and that's a 990. I've got no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But Jay's excited. The other guy's nodding yes. That means I'm getting my roof taken care of.
I have to admit, I might need to call him because I'm in actually. The insurance is like, I've never heard of this, but a contractor from the insurance company said, well, I think the insurance will pay for a half a roof. I've never heard of just paying for half a roof.
No.
It's possible.
Well,
That's
okay,
why
it is possible?
That's
Okay,
why
okay.
you need to get an advocate like Jay.
Okay, I'll
give him
give
a
him a
call and
call.
talk
I
to
will
him.
give him a call.
Yeah, Dan, if you're in the situation like Dan is, call Jay first because it really is. It's an advocate. It's like a lawyer. You call your defense lawyer first. And the thing is, it's not in the insurance company's best interest to say, "Oh yeah, we'll just, give you a free." So get Jay's expertise. For one thing, the consultation is free. Second of all, Jay's just a fun guy to talk to. But the thing is, after the consultation, you will have an answer. You'll know whether you qualify for a roof replacement. Alan and I both got our roofs replaced with an insurance claim through Jay Hill. Every time it rains, it's been a couple years since then. Every time it rains, I enjoy just looking up and going,
Smiling smugly and go, look, everything's working.
Yeah, so get in touch with Jay. Great business culture as well, like we said, and highly qualified, and that includes gutters, windows, and siding because all of that works together. And they install roofing systems. Everything they install is a system, and these are systems that actually have a lifetime transferable warranty. And also, if you need to finance, Jay has 30 lenders at his disposal where you can qualify in less. I think they run a little stop clock. It's under 2 minutes. You qualify, and you might qualify for 4 or 5 lenders or maybe more, and then you pick the terms that work for you. And so you're in control when you call Big M Roofing and Remodeling. Get in touch with Jay. You can call him directly any time of the day. I suggest calling him at 3 in the morning at 901-484-5645 or go to bigmroofingandremodeling.com. All right, Max, hit it, man.
And now, great moments in building history.
Okay, well, we teased it up, but maybe somebody literally just tuned in, Dan. So in this week's Great Moments in Building History, if you go to our Tool Talk Radio Facebook page, you'll find a really comprehensive video. It's a really good video. It's from James May, who is a host of, he's a host of Top Gear, but he also has his own show that's called James May's Toy Stories, which I heartily recommend. They're really good. Max, you're a fan of those shows, right? So,
Yes.
and basically, they just dive deep on a particular thing, but they do everything he does big.
He does big, yes.
He's like, okay, we're going to talk about Legos. Well, I'm going to build a Lego house.
Well, he's got that BBC budget as well.
Yeah, the BBC must have a pretty big budget.
They must.
So if you go there, so you can find pictures all over the internet. Now it doesn't exist anymore. It's since been torn down. Alan, when did they put this baby up?
That was back in 2009.
Okay.
He was doing a series on the history of Lego and all that, and he looked at it and just looked dead in the camera and went, I'm going to build a house out of these things. And everybody went, no, you're not. He goes, oh, yeah, I am.
You say I'm good. He didn't do anything.
Well,
he always has like a lot of free labor and a lot of volunteers.
I know, but he basically had a foundation put down, had a frame built around it, and had a truck back up with 3 million Legos in it.
Yeah.
And go.
Right.
Had a working toilet, working shower. It was actually a functional, livable home.
All right. Now, go ahead.
But is it comfortable?
The toilet.
According to him, the bed
yeah.
was the worst thing he'd ever made.
Yeah. Would you sleep on a Lego
No,
bed?
it would probably be like when we go out camping with Troop 27 and I forgot my cot.
Yeah.
I hate sleeping on the ground.
Right.
I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, one little tree root or
Exactly.
one little bump
I would be
or
up all night.
It's like some Spanish Inquisition torture thing.
Right. So, but anyway, I for one thing, I do marvel at the fact that they had a budget for because basically this was just it was to set a world record, right? I mean,
Yes,
that's what he's
it
all
was
about.
Set world record.
Okay. Well, Dan, what do you want to zero in on this
Well,
conversation?
what was interesting is because he had a couple of scientists and engineers from University of Oxford, if I remember correctly, to actually help him out to engineer what he needed to do. And they discussed, well, you're going to have to bore out some of the Lego pieces in order for the construction to work, because once it gets to, let's say, 175 pieces high, it's going to start falling over because it has too much weight at the top. So they actually had to get some of the weight in the middle taken out.
That's why they did that?
Yes, that's
Okay.
that's why they did it.
Correct me if I'm wrong. One thing that I was watching on this, you said they built a foundation. As far as I could see, they built a wooden platform to build this on, which to me was kind of a mistake because it's got too much leeway in there.
I would have thought concrete. I would have thought concrete and everything. So
now, granted, they built it in the middle of this really beautiful vineyard and everything, so
Right.
they probably didn't want to. And it was a temporary structure, so I understand why they did that. But
and also Legoland over in UK, because there is a Legoland everywhere in UK. They tried to actually sell it to them, but they were like, "Let me think about it. It's going to cost us this much to take it down, and this much to actually put it back up."
The transportation cost was way too high. They just couldn't get it there.
Right.
it was a 2-story thing too.
Oh, it's not small.
No, it's not.
No, this is a very large thing. The one thing he did discover kind of after the fact was it wasn't exactly watertight.
Yeah, and it
had
I
some-
could have told him that.
it
Yeah.
had
The
a few
toilet
pinhole
especially was a
leaks.
little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Hopefully nobody tested that too much.
Well,
you know what I
he
mean?
stayed
But,
the night, so I'm fairly certain.
Well, this is just me. Wouldn't that be a great Airbnb though?
I don't know.
I'm dead serious. There, look, the last remaining blockbuster video in the country is an Airbnb. and they
Oh, I
make
didn't know
money
that.
out of that. In Oregon, you would think the only Lego house in the world could make money out of being an Airbnb. That's just me.
All right. If people will go sleep in an ice building.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly. They could make money off of that. I don't know if it would be enough money to actually to keep it going and everything, because I would imagine you like the cleaning cost to actually have an Airbnb in a Lego house. It wouldn't be cleaning. It'd be like putting more Legos there. That's what it would be. It wouldn't be like vacuuming and washing the walls. Let's put a couple more Lego blocks down.
Hey, Dan, I wanted to put you on the spot a little bit.
Go ahead.
Because here's my question. The first thing, naturally, my first question is, okay, how much does 3.3 million Lego bricks cost? Because, and it's more or less, I think he used pretty standard bricks. So there was nothing,
He used 2x8, and it didn't matter what color.
I don't know if Lego more or less sponsored this thing and
They
gave
probably did, and if it's
maybe he returned them after the fact, but I'm like, because cost effectiveness, I think it's a lot cheaper to just make a house out of wood. I don't know.
Retail wise, most of the time it's about 24 cents a block.
Oh, I didn't know that. Holy smokes.
Roughly, okay?
Well, Allan,
that's roughly.
Put your brain to work.
I don't know exact. I would imagine our cost would be about 3 cents. Times that by, I'm doing this on the fly here, guys.
Well, I can tell you
about $900,000 just on material.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's about $1 million build.
Yeah, he's got that BBC budget, like I said.
Then you got to throw in labor because he had a designer.
And shipping.
And shipping, too. Because,
and the lumber.
Yeah, because the nearest manufacturer in the UK is in Germany. So you'd have to actually have it shipped from Germany to the UK.
That makes sense because they came in like shipping containers.
Right.
So to build about a 600 square foot house with leaky plumbing, cold walls, and probably not very well insulated.
So
$1 million. Yeah, I wonder why he couldn't sell that.
Exactly. So just the material alone, shipping and wise, is probably 1.4 million, something like that.
Yeah.
And this was what 15 years ago.
Yeah,
basically. Yeah, 2009.
2009.
Yeah.
And basically the idea was it was going to get moved to either a theme park or somebody wanted it. Basically, the 50,000 pounds, somebody wanted to move it. Everybody went, nah. So the other big one was he didn't exactly tell the planning commission what he was doing.
Well, he tried to build it in the city, and they're like,
no, you're not doing that. So it was inevitable that the Lego house was going to come down.
Right.
The funny part of this was, of course, it's now time to tear it down. And they get out there with their little mallets. And they discovered that Legos don't. The one thing everybody that's ever had Legos knows very well, they don't always want to come apart.
No.
So so the demolition was as much of a chaos party as just trying to get all this stuff delivered.
Yeah.
So they knocked it down. They turned around and donated out all the Legos.
Well, that's good. To who?
Yes.
Okay.
If you wanted some Legos,
you could
grab a bag and stuff like that. Yes.
So they donated out all the Legos, and I think the team that built the frame came back out with the chainsaws and took the frame down.
I'm just wondering, when they go back and they cut the grass, a couple more times, I guarantee you there's still a couple Lego.
Yes, got to be a Lego left in there.
You just hear the crunch every single time. 6 months later, there's still a crunch.
Yeah, you're gonna wear gonna wear shoes when you go over this area. Yeah.
Now, Dan, we're all about we are 100% behind Lego. It's the greatest toy line ever created. But I just wonder structurally, would this hold up against storms?
No.
Would this hold up? This does not seem like the ideal. You could line the interior walls with Lego, but then of course, how do you hang anything on the wall? But
well, all right. We say that, but we're talking about the little bitty brick.
Yes. You're talking about the 2x8s.
All right. Well, there are several companies in England post this.
Right.
That are working on shore restoration, water control, and that kind of stuff. And the really gargantuan 4-ton concrete boulders that they're making for this, guess what shape they're in?
Oh, yeah. Well,
they're giant Lego bricks that weigh a couple of tons each.
Yeah.
And they're working perfectly
What is it with England and stones and Legos? Because even going back to like Stonehenge, they have Lego-like structures, like like the tongue and groove things that fit together on top of each other. So what is it about England and Legos?
It's funny. Max and I are always thinking. I was just thinking of Stonehenge because they did a mortise and tenon kind of thing on that. So it makes. Hey, I mean, in terms of there's modern homes that are being built. Basically, it's giant Lego. I mean, these are wooden. Insulated, you stack them. You could frame a house in literally a day, and then add your window, and it's basically Lego construction.
Instead of 6 months waiting for a house, it's a week.
Right.
Yeah.
You get 6 of your buddies, and you say, okay, grab that pile of bricks. We're going to build a
All
house.
right. Well, all right. The kitchen's a little small. Let's move this wall out. So. All right, we'll just pick it up, move it, click it back in place, and there you go. Your wall moved down in a foot.
Now, Dan, I have to wonder. Okay, full disclosure, I only came to this story. This was 2009. I was not. I heard about it years later. Were you following this as it was?
I was following just because of James May. Because I was big with Top Gear and everything.
Top Gear is great.
So yes, I just followed it because of that.
Okay, so what was the feeling going on at that point? Because they were. It's not like they built this in a day. It took a while to build. So. What were your thoughts as this thing was happening?
It's not going to work.
Okay. So right away
I thought it wasn't going to work. There's no way. I mean, you'd actually have fun with some of your kids and everything. Hey, let's make a little fort out of a Lego, and that wouldn't work. So I'm making a fort that's 2 by 2. You're making a almost 1,000 square foot house out of this. That's not going to work.
2 stories.
Come on.
I was a little dismayed to learn that there was actually wooden framing inside because I thought, well, realistically though, I mean, you'd have to do wooden framing.
But they had that little side arc thing about how they could potentially make girders out of Legos, and they succeeded.
Did
you remember?
Oh yeah,
I kept seeing
he walked around on there. Remember, he walked around on like the steel girder structure. Lego girder structure.
Yeah, I don't know. It's well worth watching, and like I said, we linked the video right on our Facebook page. But it's I salute the effort though, because I mean that's what we need more people doing stuff like this. So.
Well, how'd you like to have been one of the volunteers? They had over 1,000 volunteers building this thing.
Right.
Oh yeah, they were building.
They had a blast.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
If nothing else, James May is a master at getting a lot of people to do his work and getting credit for it. I mean, so, but hey, go big or go home.
Well, that's exactly it.
So it
just goes to show that the shape and the idea still works and is still building pavements and saving shores. And congratulations to an amazing design for a company that started out making ducks,
making wooden ducks.
Yep.
You know what else I like about Lego because in this show was a perfect example of it. If you watch these 1,000 volunteers, you saw young kids right next to senior citizens.
Right.
Like Lego unites everybody. Everybody. I mean, I don't really know anybody that doesn't love Lego. So I mean, that's cool. Uniting generations and stuff.
Well, working with Lego and everything, and we might talk about it a little bit more, but our focus is 65% now towards adults.
Oh, I don't doubt that. I've been to these conventions, man.
Yes.
Those guys are nuts.
65% towards adults.
Okay. Well, great moments in building history, the James May Lego house. But, hey, you guys, you're listening to Tool Talk Radio. This is going to be interesting. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to visit with Boy Scout Troop number 27 and try to help them earn their merit badge.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Was that toilet always next to the refrigerator?
Ned, you ever try lugging a toilet up a flight of stairs?
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
That sounds like the planning committee for the Lego house, Max. Max's ability to obtain audio is uncanny. Anyway, welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios.
I have my resources.
Exactly. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com, and our pal Max over there behind the glass, and our guest, Dan O'Brien, otherwise known around the station as Dan the Lego Man, and about 80 of his Boy Scout troop that he brought over here from Troop 27, and we're gonna be talking to them in just a minute. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. And we invite you to go to two Facebook pages today. First of all, go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page and give us a like and follow the action over there. But then scoot on over to the News Talk 98.9 Facebook page, and you can see You can see what's going on in the studio here. You can see the cameras are on. Dan, you brushed your hair today.
Yeah, I
too.
did.
Good. Thanks
That's
for
unusual.
doing that, man.
Yes.
And of course, if you miss it, you can always come back anytime and watch the video. So if you want to see what it looks like here in the studio, which I will say, we have a beautiful studio.
Oh, we
State of
do.
the art,
We
man.
do.
So.
Yes.
So, okay, but so Dan, with that in mind, you brought in. Well, you run. Are you the troop leader?
No, I'm not the troop leader.
Okay.
I'm one of the adults that actually helps out. I go on a couple campouts and stuff in that nature with Troop 27 out of Bartlett.
Okay.
My son has been involved with in Scouts for, I don't know, it seems like 8 years or so.
Right.
He's getting close to Eagle Scout, and we're going to still try and push him that way. And going from that. But about once a year and a half, maybe once every 2 years, I get some scouts together and come up and do a radio merit badge.
Okay, cool. Hey, I want to get Braden on the air first because you said, he's getting his own walk-up music. You said Braden is an SPL. What does that stand for?
Yeah, SPL. He is a senior patrol leader for Troop 27. Every 6 months, there's an election, and it's all done by the scouts itself, and they elect who they want to lead the troop for that
cool.
6 months. And right now, it's Braden.
Okay. Are the Boy Scouts really into these acronyms? I mean,
They are. They are.
You sound like
SPL,
NASA, man.
PL. There's several of them.
All right.
ASL, PL. Yes. I get them confused all the time too. So.
Okay. Hey, Braden, welcome to Tool Talk Radio. Tell me something. Have you ever had to fight a bear with a Swiss Army knife?
Well, no.
That's
not
the next
recently.
merit badge. So, okay.
Yeah.
Well, what are you teaching these guys? I mean, you got them here doing this cushy radio
The
stuff.
closest thing I can see is probably raccoons when we actually throw something at the raccoons that come towards us and maybe get the bread that we leave out, something like that. Might be the closest thing we come to a bear.
Okay. Hey, so Braden, what are your duties as an SPL? Tell us about that, man.
I had to kind of get the troop together and make sure everything runs smoothly. It's a lot of behind the scenes work.
Okay. What do you mean though? What kind of trouble can a bunch of Boy Scouts give you? Aren't they well behaved and courteous and everything?
No.
And
They're not well
okay. Do you enjoy that? I don't know that I'd like to. So all of your peers, you got to boss them around, basically.
Kind of. I do have a couple people that I can kind of group up with to see if I need to get anything sorted out.
Okay. Okay. This is interesting. I'm just the dynamic that your fellow scouts vote for you is kind of cool.
Yeah, with the SPL, there is a key 3. He has an assistant leader.
Okay, gotcha.
And then what a tribe is part. The scribe is part of it of the key 3 too.
The scribe is not part of the key 3.
Okay, see, I'm getting it wrong too.
It's the SPL, ASPL, and the troop guide.
The troop guide. That's it.
Okay, gotcha. So who do we got next to you? We're gonna rotate the mic because we got 5 guys here. So move the mic over. Is this Braden?
No, this is Julian.
Sorry, Julian. I had my notes wrong. So Julian, what's your role in this operation, man?
Oh, I'm one of the patrols.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, we
I'm
want
one
you
of the
to talk
patrols.
into the mic.
I'm in one of the patrols. I'm in the radioactive K9 patrol.
Awesome. Okay.
I'm down. This is another thing.
Explain.
This is another thing. Let me explain this. Each
Okay.
patrol, and we have 2 patrols in Troop 27 right now. They can actually name what their patrol is, and then they actually have basically like a call sign of what that patrol is. And I'm not. Do we want to do the? Okay, they're shaking their heads. No, they actually have like a yell, almost like if you're in the military, you have when you go out and running and everything. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm part of the Marines and stuff like that. They have a calling sign of each one of their patrols, and one right now it's what the radio. What is it now? The
Radioactive
K9s, and the other one is just the no patrol, right?
It's weird.
Yes.
Who named that? Now, I salute the name. I think it's a cool name, but was that your doing?
Oh, I have no idea whose idea that was. I
that-
just came back one day and you're like, hey, you're part of the radioactive K9s now. I'm like, what?
What other kind of weird names you got? I had no idea. So you guys really are like the Navy SEALs. or
Oh yes,
something.
exactly. There's been some really weird names.
I wasn't around, but there was this one patrol that called the Combat Wombats. No idea.
That's a little too cutesy for me. I think yours is cooler. So the radioactive. But see, that would look good on a business card. I don't know, man. It's an interesting job.
Sounds a
title.
good band name.
All right.
Or the origins of a superhero.
Yeah.
What does that actually mean, though, that you're a part of that? You said you're a scout?
Oh yes, I'm a assistant patrol leader. So whenever the patrol leader is not here, I take over for them.
What do you guys? I'm kind of curious. Like I said, I only got through Cub Scouts, so I mean, we went on a camping trip.
Right.
Mostly, we were in people's houses, and we learned to build a campfire. I did learn how to make a fire out of steel wool and sparks and stuff.
Okay.
But you guys are a lot more advanced. What sort of stuff are you doing these days? So.
Oh, we go on campouts like once a month for a weekend. We do stuff like this, like merit badges sometimes. We do swimming, camping, as I said.
We're going to have we're going up to Kentucky Lake like we usually do every single year to Roy C. Manchester for a summer camp for a whole week in June.
Okay, cool. So, I'm a little stunned by the name. I'm really eager to learn more of these names. So, let's Jonathan. Okay, you're the tallest one here.
Oh, yeah.
How old are you?
5'10.5". I'm 16.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're not. Okay, you're probably on the.
Well, this Boy Scouts range from 11 all the way up to 18.
Right. I mean, he's taller than me. It's like, I don't know what they're feeding the kids these days. So, Jonathan, what group are you? Or you got any cool names like the radioactive?
I'm in the No Patrol. Yeah.
It's like by the badge on his I love his badge, which is just the cross arm.
Yeah, that's their badges if they're in.
Oh, you get your own badge.
Yes. Yeah, look at his shoulder. Yeah. Have him show his shoulder. There you go. That is a badge.
Okay, I have many questions. Who named it and why? The No Patrol sounds very negative. I thought you guys are supposed to be all about.
Well, it's I think.
Well, it's about don't do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, no to all the bad stuff in Boy Scouts.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. Braden named it, not me. So
Joe's a hard sell.
If you're going, because I do kind of equate this, Dan, a little to the military. I mean,
and that's exactly where it's come from. Is from the military. They actually put it through that. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, so you need like the screaming dragon horde or something. You need something more aggressive. I think you ought to rethink your branding. Man.
Well,
no offense.
We've had a couple of those type patrols, but the No Patrol has just got to be one of my favorites.
It's kind of got an anime feel to it. I like it. So
no, okay.
I'm with it.
Very
I'm
cynical.
down.
I don't know, Jonathan. What do you? Okay, now you've been in Scouts a while. When did you start?
I started in Cub Scouts like you when I was like a weeblo, so I was like in 7th grade or something.
Oh, okay. No, I was in 3rd or 4th. When did they start? I was the young one, and whatever we built our soapbox derby. I got like last place. I didn't, and then I built mine myself. Nobody helped me.
Yeah.
Is that? I don't know if that's still the case.
Well, to be honest with you, if you go to you could tell which parents built the ones. Yes, you can tell.
Okay, but Jonathan, you're still with it. So what do you get out of Boy Scouts? I mean,
I have so much fun just going on campouts. They're like, we can do like all kinds of stuff on the campouts. So I just love it.
What do you do? Actually, what does that look like? Because you have to rough it, right?
Well, usually we get there and then we like set up tents and then we'll cook because we like cook everything on our own. We have like stoves we unpack and we just do all that. And then usually the next day we have like free time to do whatever. We can play basketball if there's basketball. Usually we play football, but we can do tons of stuff.
That's pretty cool. I don't remember ours. Ours was very regimented and it was quick, Dan. So this is cool that you give them some downtime.
Well, with the Boy Scout troop, you're actually it's supposed to be scout driven, and the scouts twice a year they actually go over the calendar and say, "Hey, I want to go here. I want to go there. I want to do this."
Yeah,
and that's what we try and actually say. We try and say, no, we can't do that every now and again, but the majority of the time we say, let's try and go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's see. Who do we got next? We got Julie. Is this Julie?
No, that's Trenton.
You guys moved. I had them. Okay. All right, Trenton. So, Trenton, what crew are you with? So,
I'm the patrol leader for the No Patrol.
Okay, so more of these no guys.
That's all right. I'm with you. Joe's a little confused, but I'm
not confused.
Totally getting it.
I reject their brand. I think you guys need something more aggressive and more like,
right,
battle
keep in
ready.
mind, he's a Gryffindor.
I'm a Gryffindor in here. Right. So, Okay, so Trenton, though, what brings you to Boy Scouts? I mean, how long have you been in this operation? So.
I've been in Scouts since 3rd grade
Mm-hmm.
when I was a bear, I think, and then I just kept going. Yeah,
I don't think I ever got. I think I got the wolf patch. Is that sound
That's
right?
one of them. Yes.
That's like the second.
I
wasn't a very aggressive one. So okay.
Joe was kind of the fox in Zootopia.
Once it stopped, once it started becoming hard work. But Trenton, do you? What does that entail? Like what sort of duties do you have?
So it's almost like a subdivision because Braden is the SPL, but I'm under him, but I go to him for information, and we sort of work together to make sure everyone in my patrol can advance. And if we have like activities that we want to do, we all get together to discuss it. And I lead the patrol, but the patrol is also like I'm a leader, but I'm not necessarily like a boss. I'm sort of like just making sure that everyone is okay through me.
You're a facilitator.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. It sounds very diplomatic over there.
It is.
That's cool. I like the structure, and I like that. I didn't realize it was scout driven.
Yes, it is scout driven.
That's why because I'm kind of a nonconformist, and when I would get to Cub Scouts, they said, "Well, this is what we're doing today, and this is where you sit, and this is." And
well, with the Cub Scouts, it is. It is. Hey, you do this, and we're going to do that. Once they get past that, it's all scout driven. Yes.
Okay. So, and you like that role?
It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun, yeah.
What's your favorite thing you ever did on a camp out?
We painted birdhouses one time after I got attacked by a raccoon.
Wait a minute. Did you have to get rabies shots?
No, it ran into my head while I was sleeping in my tent.
All right, in radio, because we're here talking about radio, that's called burying the lead. Why didn't you start with that story?
A raccoon ran into my head. That's a good start. There you go.
How did he get in? Was that a failure of your tent setup, man?
He didn't get in. He was outside, and someone conveniently left food right next to my tent. So he ran from outside and knocked into my head where my head was from the outside. I don't know how he hit me, but like he ran in my head. I was really scared.
How did you sleep after that?
I didn't.
And who's the idiot that left the food out there? Because luckily a bear didn't show up, right, Dan?
Yeah, luckily.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It wasn't you, was it?
No.
Okay. No. Holy cow. So this is the kind of thing you're doing to our children.
That's it. Yeah, okay. Yes, scaring them. They cannot sleep at night sometimes.
Raccoons don't play games.
No, they don't. They don't.
Well, luckily you didn't, because I heard those rabies shots are no fun, right?
No.
Has anybody under your care
never had a rabies shot. We've went to the hospital a couple times with, breaks and stuff like that, but no rabies shots.
Okay. Gosh, this is pretty interesting. So I never knew there was this kind of action going on at the old scout troop. So, all right, hey, let's bring on Wesley. Now, this is your son.
This is my son, Wesley. Yes.
Do you want to interview him? Or
Wesley's
been SPL several times, ASAPL. He's now the troop
guide.
Troop guide. That's it.
You're the only one that's got a scarf on. What does that scarf indicate?
So we were all supposed to.
Yeah, they were all supposed to be in quote unquote Class A. Class A is what Wesley is wearing.
Yeah.
The other ones are Class B. And if you actually realize it, our troop nickname is Puddle Jumpers, and the main reason why is it feels like 90% of the time, 80% of the time we go camping, it rains. So we actually have to jump over puddles. So if you hear that Troop 27 is actually going camping that weekend, you might as well say it's going to rain.
It's going to rain.
It's going to
rain.
Ball game. Yes, it's going to rain. Yes, yeah.
That's what it is.
You guys will be happy to know that has never changed in 50 years. So you know. It's just,
Yeah. Just ask the Memphis and May organizers.
Oh, exactly. It's going to rain at least one day.
Yeah,
okay.
Every scout troop I've ever attended for any reason, it's a guarantee. In the middle of a drought.
Yeah. All of a sudden, rain.
We know how to solve it.
Yes.
Just send the troop in, tell them they're going to be in the woods in a tent.
Boom.
So
it's going to rain.
So, Wesley, when you were an SPL, what sort of landmark achievements did you institute while you were there?
Wow.
So I was SPL for
a year after COVID, so it was
fun.
kind of
Yeah.
mainly rebuilding the troop and having a lot of boys come back to scouting because during COVID, everyone was away from scouting, everyone was online.
That's lame. Yeah.
That's one thing. During COVID, Zoom calls for scouting. Let me tell you what. You think schooling with Zoom was challenging? Scouting, let's go play hide and seek on Zoom or something like that. That was so hard.
Plus,
absolutely
you had to
so hard.
build your own fires in the living room or something, right? That's dangerous. So, yeah. Hey, you're making me think of something, Wesley, because okay, well, when we were back in my day, we didn't have cell phones or anything. What does scouting look like now that everybody's got their own phone and everything? Do they have to be turned off, or are they part of what you do?
So scouting, like when I was SBL, we didn't really have a phone rule. It was mainly you could have them out, you could not have them out. But back then, it was a lot of boys would be self-aware of them having their phones, but now we have a rule in place where you have to turn your phone at the beginning of a meeting because we've had issues where people have like brought out their phones during times when they didn't need them.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of rude.
It is.
And plus, you got the whole point of the Boy Scouts is when the grid goes down and the apocalypse arrives, you guys are gonna lead the way, right? I mean, do you?
They're all smiling at that. Yeah, it's like okay.
That's another question. Many questions emerge here, but you guys said you make your own food. Do you fish? And I mean, how far do you take?
Oh,
that?
I'm seeing some serious nodding back there. They got the
Okay, so it is to a certain degree. Before each camp out, like on a Thursday or something, we'll go shopping for foods because we'll have a balance that we can use that we get during our Monday meetings. So that way, before a camp out, you can go shopping for all your food and stuff.
Okay.
So they have a budget. So let's say, hey, here's $75 for these 5 scouts to eat for the weekend.
Okay.
So if you run out of the money for $75, guess what? They're not going to have Oreos because you don't have the money. You'll have to skip out on dessert, but you have the chicken breast to make dinner, something like that.
These are real world. You guys are really teaching some valuable lessons.
Well, we
It's
try.
like,
We try.
I would encourage everybody to get involved.
Exactly.
In the Boy Scout. I mean, because look at these are life skills. You guys, if you can balance a checkbook and pay your bills and budget, that's not a bad thing.
Right.
Hey, you guys. So while you're here, this is interesting. Before we move on, does anybody else have any scary stories like getting attacked by raccoons that they want to share before we move it along? It looks like Braden's got one, so give him the mic. Braden, what's your encounter?
Okay, so in this one camp that we were at for a week, apparently there was a mountain lion at the camp that had
Of course, yeah.
And like a couple of days before we got there, it had literally chased a couple boys down a hill. So, and it was still out there when we were there. So yeah, that was fun.
Yeah,
I'm
so
pretty
they're
sure.
just. Oh, by the way, watch out for the mountain lion.
By the way, don't get eaten while you're going to the potty.
Did that scare you? You can be honest with us. So.
Yeah, a little bit. Okay. Because I kind of saw a little bit of movement in the forest. I'm like, oh, well.
Okay, but it didn't. You didn't go home.
No, I didn't go home. I stayed there for the rest of the week.
Okay, so mountain. Okay, well now your raccoon story sounded pretty lame. Actually. Okay, anybody else?
I promise you, a raccoon on your head does not feel lame. I promise you.
Anybody have any fish that fought back and didn't want to? Like, did they make it? Did they after they got off the hook? Did they escape or no? Okay. All right.
No, they're better fishing it than you are, Joe.
Hey, you guys. So everybody get near the mic now because we're going to take your questions because you're here learning about radio and everything. Have any? Well, how many of you have been to a radio station before? I know Wesley has. What do you guys think of this whole thing? You're on the radio right now, live. People are listening to you. Do you have any comments or questions or things?
Don't be nervous. There's only about 100,000 people on the other end of that mic.
Any observations or questions? Feel free to weigh in. So, Jonathan looks like he wants to say something.
I like it. It's pretty cool.
Okay, that's all you got to say. So, well, what is it? Is this what you envision? You walk in. There's all this equipment. There's things. What did you guys envision when you were picturing this?
Well, I mean, I didn't really know. I mean, I just saw the mics and I was like, Yeah, that looks about right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well,
I saw that in a movie once. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
well, I mean, you guys grew up with YouTube. I mean, everybody's kind of got. This isn't
Right.
as. I guess this isn't like peeling back the.
You
curtain
could probably
for them.
now with everything with YouTube and all the internet, you could see behind the scenes.
Right.
But when I was
Right.
growing up, when you were growing up, you didn't know what behind the scenes was.
No,
Yeah.
and
And it was a
apparently-
Clint Eastwood movie, if you were lucky.
Right.
And then behind the
right.
scenes was a dinosaur board, not the fancy doodads we have today.
Now, back in the day, you guys, when radio, I guess, probably in your early days, Dan, right? This was before my time on radio, but man, there would have been racks of cassettes and
Yes.
record. And you talk about, Max has got this nice little compact digital board, but man, what was that like?
Oh,
Yeah.
that was insane.
Having to grab a
because
record,
having to grab a
and
record or a
talk
CD.
and do-
The worst is grabbing a CD because you didn't know if it was scratched or not, and then all of a sudden, it's and that's the worst part. I mean, at least if you put the record on, you could see if it was scratched. No, I'm not going to play it. The CD was the worst. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I can't. I'm glad I didn't deal with. Or,
Oh.
well, I mean, cassettes could get eaten.
Yes.
They could,
Yeah.
Records could skip.
Right.
Oh,
They're
there
big,
was
they're-
nothing like in, let's see, I started in radio, what about 1980?
You were right on the hinge there.
Yeah,
So,
dude, there was nothing like going to set the needle down and watching that tiny little tip go
Yeah.
off and come around the record,
Yeah.
which meant nothing worked until you put a new needle in.
Right. And
So
then you had dead air.
had
You're
to-
going, ah.
You had to entertain, keep the dead air from being on, install a new needle, which was only a couple of $100.
Yes.
And oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to. You guys did a good job too because you have to watch what you say on the radio.
Yes, you do.
Nobody. You guys used very.
I didn't
good
have to
light.
hit the dumb button.
You didn't have to hit that. What's interesting is it's sort of a time machine, you guys, because as we speak, the listener hears it like 15 seconds later. So
Yes.
what we're saying now doesn't happen yet till 15 seconds.
15 seconds later.
Yeah. So that way Max has time if you say something inappropriate to. Guys, we got about a few minutes left. Is there anything anybody wants to say to the listeners? Go ahead, Wesley. Let's hear it, man.
Okay, so the idea behind the No Patrol, since Braden didn't say it earlier, is that we have a adult leader in our troop that whenever you make an inappropriate joke, he would say no in a very deep voice.
No.
And that is a part of the patrol yell, and patrol name is behind that joke.
Okay, so it's a little more subversive
Yes.
and a little more rebellious. Okay, I can respect that.
You like it
The
now?
No Patrol
Okay.
wasn't doing it for me, you guys. Hey, well, so did they earn the bad? Can we?
Yes,
give them a
I think
salute, you guys?
so. Yes,
Okay,
yes,
all
yeah.
right. Well done, gentlemen. This is great. And feel free, Dan, you should bring him around more often and bring Legos next time.
I'm sorry. I had my whole set. I'll
Deadbeat.
bring them next week. Yes.
Okay, that's the one thing. And you guys learned a lesson too. They brought donuts today.
Yes, I did.
Always bribe the host. So.
Always bribe the host.
All right, guys, I hear the music. You know what that means. So it's time to get out of here. Well, this has been another unusual episode of Tool Talk Radio, but the clock waits for no one, Alan. It's time to get out of here. So on behalf of my buddy Allan Gilbreth, our pal Max over there behind the glass, Dan the Lego Man, and Boy Scout Troop number 27, I'm Joe Thorderson. Thanks for listening to Tool Talk Radio, and we'll see you next week.